Welcome to my channel. My name is Daniel Charles Williams, and this is my road, my journey to a successful eBay business. Coming back at you with another video. Just a little sidebar. I shot this video already, but I had to remake it because I totally didn't like it at all. I kept saying so many times. I said so many times. I was like, no, I just had to just trash that video. I was at the pool with my son, and I guess I was a little distracted trying to watch them and trying to keep my eye on them and everything like that, and trying to stay on topic. I kept saying so many times. I was like, forget it. But so this video is going to be about listing, taking pictures, really just taking pictures and equipment that you need to take pictures. I'm sure I created a video and touched on this before, but I wanted to elaborate on it a little bit more, or just make another video because it was just fresh on my mind. When I first started with eBay, shortly after I started with eBay, I thought that I had to have all of this equipment to get started on eBay. And of course, guys, this is for beginners. If you're obviously not a beginner, then you know all the information for this. But this is really for someone who's like really beginning and they don't really know. They're probably looking through all the videos, and they see everybody, talk about their lighting kits and talk about how good images are and stuff like that. There's a misconception with all that. Going through this, I find out that a lot of things are just preference, and a lot of things are just somebody's, and the same thing, preference, just someone's personal interest. So in having a full lighting kit and having all that stuff is good to have. It is not bad to have. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say it's bad to have a lighting kit, because if you look on eBay or Amazon, I know if you look on eBay, you can find like a lighting kit, and you can buy the the backdrop and light and all that stuff. You can pay, I think it comes in a package, I think, but you really don't need to have all that stuff to get started. You don't really need to have it, period. I don't want to say you don't need to have it to get started. To each his own. I don't have a lighting kit. If you look at my previous videos, you'll see I made my own lighting kit, but as time went on, I barely use that setup that I have in my garage. I barely use it. I do obviously use the garage for my storage and to keep my items in there, but I don't use the lighting kit. And it's been months since I actually went in the garage and took pictures, just because I have been just using my little simple setup that I have. And my little simple setup that I have is my phone that I'm shooting this video on in a white sheet. So people can even get away with not having a white sheet. There's some eBay stores where they don't have a white sheet background. They're just shooting the images either on a bed or on a rug or whatever it is, just a solid background. And sometimes the background is not even solid. That I like having a white background. It just makes my images look better when I take them, where, in my situation. So my situation is that I need to take them wherever I'm at. So I try to have, starting now, I'm starting to have some consistency in my images, because I do the same setup wherever I am. So I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm somewhere that has an orange, background, or a green background, or a purple background. My images are always going to come out the same, because I just use my white sheet. So, having a white sheet is great. It's great. I mean, you don't have to have a white sheet. You can have any type of sheet. You can have a tan sheet. You can have, a tan sheet. You can have, whatever that might be, yellow sheet or something, anything, like a neutral background. You can have a neutral background, a neutral sheet. It could be anything. Doesn't necessarily have to be white. I just use white. I like the way it looks. I like the way it comes out. I have seen people do all type of backgrounds. That's just my preference. But my point to that is that you don't need to have a whole kit, a whole lighting kit and a whole table. You don't need to have all that stuff, which I thought I needed to have. So I started with all that stuff. I started with all the table and the lights, and I started with all that stuff. And as I progressed, I found out that I really don't even use it. And I list more stuff now than I did when I started. So just FYI, you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to overdo it. You don't need to have all this stuff and invest all this stuff to get started. And you don't need to, and I say that you don't need to do it to get started. You don't need to do it to continue with it. So, and again, I have brought mannequins and stuff and everything like that. I still have, I had like 3 mannequins. I wound up getting rid of 1 mannequin. I still have 2 mannequins, but I really don't use the mannequins. I think if you put your clothing on mannequins, I think your images show better details, but you don't have to. You don't have to. I do have I have a couple of prom dresses still on my mannequins, which I did not take pictures of. And now I have taken a picture of a prom dress on my white sheet, flat on my white sheet, took a picture of the front, flipped it, took a picture of the back, came down, took a picture of all the details. And someone is watching it right now. So, and I want to say I sold a prom dress that was not on a mannequin. Now, I know I sold one that was on a mannequin. I have sold prom dresses on a mannequin. I just can't recall because I've been doing so much stuff and selling much stuff. I just can't I can't remember. I want to say I sold one that I did remember that was not on a mannequin. I have one that someone's watching right now. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. A mannequin helps provide better details for an item, but you don't need to have one. You don't need to go out there and spend your money on it if you don't want to, if you want to wait. It's up to you. You don't need it. So, background. You don't need to have a whole kit for that. Could just be a solid background. Could be solid white. Could be solid tan. Can be solid anything, right? You just want to make sure you know the difference. You got to contrast. If you have something if you're shooting a white pair of jeans, if you're taking images of a white pair of jeans, you obviously don't want to have a white background, right? So, if you're shooting a dark pair of jeans, really dark, you don't want to have a black background, right? And so forth and so forth. So if you're shooting, if you got a green dress, you don't want to have a green background. So you just gotta be conscious of that. I made that mistake before. I made that mistake before. Still sold the item, but the images just wasn't the best. So I had a light colored item and I put it on a white colored background, just was not the best images, and still sold the item. So, and I believe I still have some older items still in my inventory, which I didn't sell because the whole, that whole setup was just incorrect. My pictures are probably not the best and my background wasn't the best. So you do have to pay attention to that. So even though you don't have a lighting kit and all that stuff, you still have to pay attention to taking good pictures. So in taking good pictures, you want to provide as much detail in those pictures. Of course, with listing in eBay, you have 12 pictures to take. You want to take all 12 pictures. I like to take all 12 pictures, and you make sure you show all the details of the item. So, for instance, jeans, you want to take a full picture of the jeans, laid out flat, so someone can get a good picture of what they're buying. You want to flip it on the back side so they can get a good picture of the front to back, and then you provide all the other details going through the rest of the 10 photos. Pictures of the pockets, pictures of the zippers, pictures of the bottom hems, pictures of all the details that you can find in those jeans. I like to pose them. I have like a set of 12 poses for jeans that I just kind of do automatically, so that makes sure that I kind of catch everything, plus I pose them so that someone can kind of get an idea of what they're buying. So you always want to take good pictures. I want to make sure that your picture, your item fits into your frame, right? Fits into your frame. That means you don't want to take a picture and your leg is cut off over here, and the top part is cut off over here. You don't want to take those pictures unless you're trying to take pictures of specific details of the jeans. But your initial photo should capture the item in a full item within the frame, right? You don't want the item going out of the frame. Everything fits in the frame. And if you fit everything in the frame nice and properly, then you don't have to worry about cropping anything. You got your picture, that's it. Upload it, done. That was another thing that I wasted a lot of time on in the beginning. I used to crop like crazy just because my images were just all over the place. My images were just all over the place. Just my frames were just horrible. So I used to have to crop them when I loaded them up to eBay. I had to crop. I just spent so much time on cropping. It was just ridiculous. Now I don't crop anything. I just make sure I take my photo correctly. So make sure my item fits in the frame and done. So that's just, FYI, just a little tip. All right. So after you have the image, after you have the item, your background, you know how to take the pictures, you got them on stage. Now, next is the camera. What camera are you going to use? Are you going to go out there and spend, $500 on a camera or whatever it might be, $700, $600 on a camera so you can take these amazing photos for eBay? No. Okay. Now, when I first started, thank God I didn't have to buy a camera because my wife, we had so many cameras. My wife is into cameras, which we don't use, but we had so many cameras. We just had to pick. We probably about, I don't know, I want to say maybe about like 4 different cameras to choose from so I can take pictures of my images, my items. I'm telling you, man, we had so many cameras, it's crazy. But we even had a camera that we purchased. It had a setup inside of it for eBay, and it had a setup inside of it for YouTube. It was already programmed, but I hated it. I hated it. It was just way too much work for me. It was way too much work for me to learn all the details inside of it and figure everything that went along with that camera. It had so much stuff in there. It was just way too much for me to figure out. But anyway, so to fast forward through that, the best camera I used to take pictures, to take pictures of my eBay listings was my phone. Okay, that's all you need. So nowadays, the phones that we have, the phones that you own is more than enough for you to take good photos of your listings, right? I mean, I'm telling you, and I'm sure you can go out there and buy an expensive camera and have, amazing photos and stuff like that. But for the convenience and the cost, the phone that you own in most cases is going to be enough. Okay. My phone, and now I have an S8, Samsung S8. Previously, I had a Samsung. I think when I started, I had two phones that I used because I had a Mega, Samsung Mega, and I love that phone. It was limited. It wasn't like the best model. When I got it, it was a late model when I got it, and that was several years ago. But then after that, I upgraded, or my wife upgraded, and I wound up taking her phone. She had an I want to say 6. Yes, it was an S6, right? So an S6 Edge, and it took pretty good photos. It took pretty darn good photos. I had to use the flash on it to take photos, but I had to be really careful with the flash because if you took it in the wrong light, if you had light and you took a flash and you used the flash, your image didn't come out the brightest. It looked a little dark. So you had to be really, really careful with the flash. So if you had some lighting, it basically would be enough lighting. It was more than enough what I needed. It gave me good pictures, right? I had good pictures. I was knocking them out with my camera. I didn't need no extra, expensive camera. I just used my phone. It gave me good pictures. It was good enough for me to take pictures of my stuff and sell. People were satisfied with those pictures. So if you have, and that was S6 Edge. So now that was, I don't know how many that was like 3 generations ago, right? 3 models ago. So I am sure you have that phone in better. If you don't, then maybe you might need to get a camera. But because I don't know how, like I said, well, my Mega, which was another 3 generations down from that 6, it also took decent photos. It took decent photos. It was enough to get by. My Edge, my 6 Edge, my Samsung 6 Edge were good photos. There were good quality photos. But now I have an S8, right? So an S8, right? 2 generations. So an S8, and I think now the newest phone is S9. But anyway, so my S8, but my S8 that I have takes great photos. I mean, I can't really express how good the photos, to me, I mean, from a non-professional, I'm sorry that I'm making this video super long. And I'm gonna try to end it. From a non-professional standpoint, my S8, you just can't beat the photos. And I wish and later on I'll give you my I'll let you see my photos, but I don't use a flash. The phone itself has lighting functionality within the phone that you can lighten up the image, and that's all I use. And the photos come out. They come out awesome. So no camera, no expensive camera needed. None of that nonsense. You just basically need just your cell phone you have. And I take my photos. I know some people, my wife, what she used to do is she used to do everything on her phone. She used to take pictures and upload the images to eBay with her phone and create the whole listing and all that stuff with her phone. I'm just old school. I don't do that. You know what I mean? I like using a Samsung because I don't have an issue with it just, collaborating with my Windows laptop. So I just take pictures of the stuff on my phone. I plug it into my laptop. I load up my images, and then I go to town that way. So, that might be the old school way. But anyway, my phone, that's it. That's all I need, and I'm sure that's all you need. So forget about all the lighting kits and all that stuff that you want to buy. And forget about buying all the expensive phones and cameras. I'm sorry, buying all the expensive cameras. And I'm not saying that you don't have to do that, don't do it. I mean, if you do it, then that's all good. But if you're thinking that you have to do it, you don't. You do not need to have all that stuff. White sheet, use your cell phone, figure out how to, you know what I'm saying, utilize the lighting functionality in your phone. I mean, if you don't have that functionality, and I think all phones have that functionality nowadays. If not, then just figure out how to use your flash. I mean, your flash will work. It won't give you the best picture because when you use flash, sometimes it kind of distorts the color of the item. But if it's not like a, you know, really, really colorful item, it don't matter. You can use the flash, you know what I mean? Like say, for instance, like if you have something red and you know, use your flash or don't use your flash or whatever it is. If you use your flash, maybe it might make it look a little, you know, lighter than it should. But for the most part, your phone is good to go. I'm trying to just make sure I don't miss anything that, you know, I don't want to come back and add later. But I think that's about it. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to get started. All you need is just the basics and some hunger. That's it. And be hungry and want to succeed at it. That's it. Sorry, I'm gonna cut the video off now because I don't want it to run too long. If you guys get any questions, anything you want to ask me, any comments, you know, just leave them below, and I'll try to answer them as quickly, as fast as I can. And that's it. So like the video, like it. If you don't like it, do what you do. I appreciate you guys checking it out. I'll hit you up next time. Peace.